The destroyer has long been the workhorse of modern navies. The newest and most sophisticated version of this warship is the U.S. Navy's Burke-class destroyer. With its advanced weapons platform and state-of-the-art radar systems, these ships are poised to dominate the seas for decades to come. Today, the U.S. Navy's fleet of nuclear carriers hold the front line during combat at sea. While the carriers get most of the attention in contemporary warfare, it is the destroyers that form the backbone of the modern fleet. In today's Navy, there are three types of surface warships: the frigate, the destroyer, and the cruiser. The smallest and most economical of the three is the frigate. They carry fewer weapons and less sophisticated electronic sensors than the larger destroyers and cruisers. On the high end of the scale are the cruisers, such as the U.S. Navy's Ticonderoga-class Aegis cruisers. The Aegis-class cruisers are especially well-suited to defending carrier battle groups against air attack, often called the shield of the fleet. Cruisers are larger than destroyers since they contain additional command and control facilities aboard to allow senior naval officers to coordinate the actions of other ships in a battle group. The destroyer fits in between the frigate and the cruiser. Though their missions remain much the same, the ships of the Burke class are dramatically different from the destroyers Admiral Burke commanded in World War II. They are more than 4 times heavier than a World War II destroyer, with the latest version displacing over 9,000 tons. These destroyers represent many new approaches in naval ship design, even compared to destroyers from only a decade earlier. One of the most striking changes from earlier destroyer designs is its hull shape. The Arleigh Burke was the first American warship in many years to use this new hull configuration. Other warships, including those of most other navies, still retain the more traditional proportions. Operational experiences of the Burke class confirm the advantages of this new design. Besides its unique hull shape, the Burke also incorporates other significant changes in naval architecture, one being a return to steel construction. Destroyers of the Second World War were made of steel. By the 1960s and 1970s, steel was being replaced by aluminum. The switch in materials was due to the increasing weight of radars and other sensors high up in the masts, which made the ships top-heavy. Aluminum was an excellent alternative to steel, since it offered strength at a lower weight. But it had its disadvantages in some respects, particularly in the case of battle damage and fires. The designers of the Arleigh Burke wished to return to steel construction and at the same time retain the many advanced electronic systems which have become essential to all modern warships. The Burke has a much more compact design than its predecessors. Its superstructure is sleeker and less cluttered than previous designs, and its architectural innovations make it more survivable in combat. Burke destroyers seem to be nearly devoid of weapons. The only weapon immediately obvious is the 5-inch gun on the bow. Appearances are deceiving, however, as these ships contain more effective firepower than any World War II warship. Burke-class destroyers carry a variety of missiles. SM-2 Standard missiles for surface-to-air attack, VLA missiles for anti-submarine warfare. Should any threats slip by the ship's missile defenses, Burke destroyers are also fitted with 6 torpedoes and 2 types of machine guns. On the rear deck of the destroyer is a landing pad incorporating LAMP's Mark III electronics for coordinated anti-submarine helicopter operations. The helicopter is a significant addition to the allowing it to seek out and attack enemy ships and submarines dozens of miles away. One of the few criticisms of the DDG-51 was its lack of a helicopter hangar to permit the helicopter to be permanently stationed aboard ship. This was due to the Burke's compact size. Newer Burke-class destroyers, designated as Flight II ships, were lengthened and substantially reconfigured to incorporate a helicopter hangar facility. These ships can carry two SH-60BR Seahawk helicopters. Carrying the LAMP's Mark III advanced electronics system, the Seahawks can be vectored by the Burkes to conduct anti-submarine attacks or target over-the-horizon surface ships. For all the sophisticated radar and sonar-directed weapons on board, there still remains a place for the destroyer's traditional weapons, the torpedo and the gun. Torpedoes have been reduced in importance to last-ditch weapons against submarines. Missiles have taken their place in battles with enemy ships. The gun, once the mainstay of destroyer weaponry, is now used mainly for shore bombardment. On the Burke-class destroyers, the most prominent electronic sensors are for the Aegis radar system, far more advanced than the primitive naval radars of World War II. The Aegis radar is a phased array radar. Unlike traditional radars which rotate to look for targets, the Aegis is electronically steered. These four flat panels give the Burke 360-degree coverage every second. The speed and accuracy of Aegis allow for a high degree of automation. A destroyer in World War II was usually on its own in collecting data on enemy positions. Today, the Burke receives data from many sources, including satellites, surveillance aircraft, and other ships in the battle group. Critical data can be beamed around the world over digital data channels, linking surface warships operating anywhere in the vast expanses of sea. For all their technological differences, the modern destroyer plays much the same role as its World War II ancestor, including air defense, surface attack, and anti-submarine warfare. As the threats to surface warships have changed, the destroyer has adapted to meet them. Today, the modern destroyer remains the workhorse of the Navy.